Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. I've been told that Sportskeeda wrestling readers love to hear a good Vince McMahon story. So, I don't know if I should break up my Vince McMahon experiences into a 2- or 3-part article series because I've got quite a few stories. The most recent encounter was when I brought my pro and bro wrestling podcast BRO Arnold Telegarda backstage to a recent WWE Raw TV taping in Bakersfield. It was Arnold's first backstage experience, and he had such a cool time meeting all of my friends. For me, it gets overwhelming because when you haven't seen a lot of your wrestling friends or the production team for a while, you end up saying hi and sharing the same stories with dozens and dozens of people. So, after a while, I just needed to escape and went off into one of the empty arena hallways to clear my head and gather my thoughts. Great minds think alike. On the day that Arnold and I decided to do that, Vince McMahon was thinking the exact same thing. Vince McMahon walked past us in the same empty hallway that Arnold and I were standing in to use his cell phone. He did say hello to us, but he didn't recognize me because I had my glasses on. Arnold was somewhat starstruck, which is understandable because it was just the three of us in this empty hallway. When I was full-time with WWE, you'd often see Vince on TV days by himself on his cell phone. I made sure I took my glasses off. Once he was done with his phone call, it was my chance to step out in front of him and say hello properly. I knew I'd regret it and beat myself up if I didn't say hi. So I stepped out in front of him and said, "Hey Vince, this is Darren Young." Vince's eyes got so big, and he said, "Oh my God, I didn't even recognize you. How are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing well, Vince. This is my friend Arnold." Vince shook his hand and said, "Nice to meet you, Arnold." I told Vince that I'm doing well. I let him know that I really do miss WWE. Vince smiled and said, "Give me a hug." So I gave him a hug, and he looked over at Arnold and echoed the words, "Darren is one hell of a guy." I always say the most intimidating thing about Vince McMahon is his office door, but once you muster the courage to walk in to discuss ideas with him, it's a lot of fun. Vince would always say in promo class, back when they had it on TV days, "Nervous people don't draw money." I went into his office one afternoon with the idea and vision of bringing the Hall of Famer Mr. Bob Backlund back to the main roster, but this time as my life coach. I remember Vince that afternoon in his office, complimenting me on the size of my chest. He asked me how he could get a chest like mine, and I said, "You gotta do yoga and fix your posture, Vince." He was fascinated by what I was saying, and he spoke with me for a total of 20 minutes at least. Many people think it was WWE's idea to pair me with WWE Hall of Famer Bob Backlund, but it was actually my idea. I had done several appearances with Bob Backlund over the years, such as Special Olympics events for WWE. Bob and I always love to get up close and personal with our fans, where we don't like to sit down during autograph signings. Bob and I are polar opposites. He is very over the top, and I'm pretty reserved, but we would talk all the time. So after my tag team run with Titus ended, I thought that it was time for me and Bob to link up. I had my storyline ready and written out where I'm down and out. As per the storyline, I needed some guidance and some mentoring. I needed a life coach. In fact, I wrote out my Bob Backlund life coach storyline with visuals as well. I was mirroring the relationship Mike Tyson had with his trainer, Cus D'Amato, who passed away a year before his greatest student became the youngest and arguably the most dominant heavyweight champion the world had ever witnessed. I wanted Bob Backlund to make Darren Young great again. We became very close outside of the ring, so it was real to me. That was pretty much the shortened version of my idea with Bob Backlund, and Vince loved it. He personally called up Bob to see if he'd be interested in coming back and working with me. Bob was down, so soon after WrestleMania 32, I fought to be one of the last 4 competitors in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I would be eliminated by Kane and have a moment where people are wondering what's next for Darren Young. This would be how Bob Backlund would enter the mix. I had been part of a group called the Nexus. I had teamed with Titus O'Neil to form the roughest, toughest, most entertaining tag team in WWE, the Prime Time Players. Now, finally, it was my chance to have my own singles run. Finally. We were off and running with Make Darren Young Great Again, thanks to Vince McMahon, who gave me an opportunity as a singles wrestler. He heard me out and gave me a shot. It's just unfortunate that the people that work under Vince McMahon didn't have my back when it came to really help get over the relationship with Bob Backlund. People can say whatever they want about Vince McMahon, but he gave a guy like me a chance to live his dream, and I'll always be forever grateful. Growing up, I was captivated by the bright lights, roaring crowds, and electrifying moments of WWE. From the moment I saw The Rock deliver his iconic People's Elbow and Stone Cold Steve Austin crack open a cold one in defiance, I was hooked. Wrestling wasn't just entertainment to me. It was an escape, an inspiration, and most importantly, a dream that felt just out of reach, until Vince McMahon, the legendary CEO of WWE, helped turn it into my reality. As a kid, I didn't just watch WWE. I lived it. My bedroom was transformed into an arena, my bed a makeshift ring where action figures battled in dream matches I had conjured up. Every Monday night, I'd be glued to the TV, absorbing every storyline, every finisher, every catchphrase. But it wasn't just the spectacle that intrigued me. It was the larger-than-life characters, the storytelling, and the sheer willpower these athletes displayed. Still, the thought of actually being part of that world seemed like a fantasy. I wasn't the biggest, nor the strongest, nor the most athletic. But if WWE taught me anything, it was that passion and determination could defy any odds. Inspired by Vince McMahon's mantra of taking calculated risks, I decided to chase my dream. I trained relentlessly, hitting the gym, studying the business, and even joining a local wrestling school. The journey was grueling, physically and mentally. The bumps hurt, the training was unforgiving, and self-doubt constantly loomed over me. But Vince McMahon's career had always been a blueprint for resilience. He took WWE from a regional promotion to a global phenomenon. He took risks when no one else dared. He turned WrestleMania into an annual spectacle, introduced innovative match concepts, and transformed wrestling into mainstream entertainment. If he could overcome financial ruin, legal battles, and industry critics, surely I could endure a few bruises. The opportunity of a lifetime came when WWE announced a tryout near my city. The application process was brutal. Thousands applied, but only a handful would be selected. I put my heart and soul into my application video, showcasing not just my in-ring abilities, but my charisma, my mic skills, and my understanding of storytelling, elements Vince McMahon values in a superstar. Then came the day I received an email from WWE Talent Relations. I had been invited to the tryouts. The feeling was surreal. Standing in the same facility where legends had trained, performing in front of WWE scouts was both exhilarating and terrifying. The days were grueling. We were tested on endurance, strength, and technical skills. But beyond the physical aspect, I knew WWE was looking for something deeper: heart, passion, and the ability to connect with an audience. That's where I shined. I wasn't just another bodybuilder or high flyer. I had a presence, a fire that was undeniable. The moment that changed my life came unexpectedly. After a long day of drills, we were told that we'd have the opportunity to cut a promo, one of Vince McMahon's biggest tests for potential talent. I had spent years mimicking WWE superstars in my mirror, but this was different. This was real. I stepped up, took a deep breath, and delivered a passionate monologue about underdogs, about defying expectations, about standing in that very ring against all odds. When I finished, there was a silence. Then, a familiar deep voice echoed, "That was damn good." I turned, and there he was, Vince McMahon himself. The man who built an empire, who had seen thousands of hopefuls come and go, had just complimented me. I was speechless. Vince walked over, looked me in the eye, and said, "You have something. But the real question is, how bad do you want it?" That encounter lit a fire in me. While I didn't get a contract on the spot, I knew I had made an impression. Vince McMahon saw potential in me, and that alone was fuel to push harder. I continued training, networking, and working independent circuits, honing my craft. Months later, I got the call. WWE wanted to bring me in for another tryout, and this time, I was prepared like never before. I had sculpted my body, refined my promo skills, and built an online presence. When I stepped into the WWE Performance Center again, I knew I belonged. Through sheer will and resilience, I eventually signed my first developmental contract. From there, it was an uphill battle. Grueling training, long hours on the road, countless rejections. But every time I felt like giving up, I remembered Vince McMahon's words. How bad do you want it? Fast forward to today, I stand under the bright lights, in front of thousands of screaming fans, as a WWE superstar. Every match, every promo, every entrance is a testament to the journey that started in my childhood bedroom. And at the helm of it all is the man who made it possible, Vince McMahon. Vince's vision, his relentless pursuit of excellence, and his belief in giving dreamers a chance helped me reach where I am today. Without his leadership, his commitment to storytelling, and his eye for talent, I wouldn't be living my dream. To the kid who once pretended his bed was a WWE ring, your dream is real. To those out there watching from their couches, believing they could never step into a WWE ring, don't give up, because if there's one thing Vince McMahon has taught me, it's that dreams are only impossible if you never take the first step. Thank you, Vince, for believing in dreamers like me. For building a world where the impossible becomes possible, where underdogs rise, and where passion is rewarded. Because of you, I'm not just a WWE fan anymore. I'm a WWE superstar.